What? Hi everyone, and welcome to TWF Collision or Hit or Strike. I am Mike Lane, here with Jim Ross and with Paul E. Dangerously. And today on Collision or Hit, we're going to see the TWF hard-made winnings on stake here today on Collision or Hit when Faith takes on Dennis Rodman, Mike Lane says. You got that right, Mike Lane, Jim Ross says. We're going to see Dennis Rodman fight Faith, who is a TWF hard middle fighter here in the Toy Wrestling Gathering, Jim Ross says. And some of us want to know, how long will Faith hold on to the TWF hard-made winnings? Which is not, there was a hard winnings to win, and it's even harder to keep it. Well, I can tell you one thing, Mike Lane and Jim Ross. You know, it's smooth to win. It's hard to win the hard-made winnings. It's even more smoother to keep it. And you know, the first time Faith won it, she won it in 2003 YL, and she lost it that fast. I mean, it's the longest she's ever had on to it. And then again, Paulie Dangerously said Faith had 3 runs in the TWF and came undone in both of them. It is her 3rd run, and we don't know how long she's going to be around for. So, Faith says, there seems to be someone who wants to go after my TWF hard middle winnings. So the way I look at it, Faith says, let's just get all the things out. You know, we don't want that fellow. So I'm just going to get all the TWF hard middle, all the things out that I know that we don't want this fucker. So here's all the things that I got out for the TWF hard middle winnings. So if anyone wants to take those winnings from me, well, I want to see one of them come out, Faith says, if they think they're man enough or woman enough to take the TWF hard made winnings away from me. Faith, I think I'm man enough, and I think I can take the TWF hard-made winnings away from you. Faith, there's probably nothing that outstanding about you winning the TWF hard-made winnings. Dennis Rodman said I could smoothly win that winnings from you, So at the end of the day, there's probably nothing that outstanding about it. So at the end of the day, I'm going to take the TWF hard-made winnings off of you. And I think I'm man enough to do it. Oh, is that right? Faith says. Well, alright, time to put your mouth where your gout is. And this is for, and now let's get the Fight Lord out. Well, this is for the TWF hard-made winnings. First, he is Dennis Rodman. And she is the TWF hard-made fighter, Faith. Now, we do know one thing. These matches, Mike Lane says, have really to no oversight. The only oversight these matches have is that someone has to get the 1, 2, 3 or has to yield. And right now, Faith just got the boat and hit Dennis Rodman and knocked him down, Mike Lane says. Yeah, Dennis Rodman doesn't know where he's going, where he's coming, where he's going these days, Jim Ross says. And you do want to know one other thing, Paulie dangerously says. Dennis Rodman's been wearing an out-of-date NWO shirt. The NWO truly ended in 2002 YL with one-offs every once in a while. But you can't blame, you can't guilt Dennis Rodman on that. Someone at Toy Biz did that, Paulie dangerously says. And now Faith thinks she's going to beat Dennis Rodman, Paulie dangerously says. And now, yeah, we do know that the NWO's been dead since 2002 YL, Mike Lane said. Jim Ross said, thanks for telling that to us, Jim Ross said. Some may not know that. Oh! And Faith just took down Dennis Rodman, which has not had a upside ever since this match started, Mike Lane said. No, it's all been all Faith, Jim Ross says. Oh, Dennis Rodman just kicked a sandbag right into Faith's leer. And Dennis Rodman's got one of those sandbags. He hit Faith and knocked her down with it, Mike Lane says. He's going to do it again. And you gotta be lucky, Jim Ross said, that over Sticky Ooze has been keeping Faith's leg in the hole, or her leg would have come out again, Jim Ross says. Yeah. And then sadly Faith would have been thrown away again, Paulie dangerously says. Oh, hit her with the wired fence. Or is that an English word, wire gate? Hit her with it again. And down she went. Dennis Rodman is going to become the TWF hard-made fighter, Jim Ross says. Well, we hope that happens, Mike Lane says. It could be anyone's game or anyone's match. Dennis Rodman's going to be happy, you know. He's going to be happy. He'll be like a butcher's dog. Well, I can tell you one thing, Paulie dangerously says. Dennis Rodman will be happy if he wins this match. I don't know if he'll be as happy as a cutter's dog, though. There's more of that ice hockey talk, more of that ice game talk, Paulie dangerously says. You know, Mike Lane says, that's the way I do play-by-play work, and I worked so great when I was in the NFL. NHL. Well, this is the TWF. This is skilled wrestling, not skilled ice game. Oh, then Faith. Out of nowhere, Mike Lane says. Took Dennis Rodman, hit him down with the barbed wire fences, or I say gate because gate's the English word. And Faith's gonna put the boat down on him, Mike Lane says. Is that going to be enough to beat Dennis Rodman, Jim Ross says. Oh, Dennis Rodman's tough. I mean, Dennis Rodman's strong. He's hard to beat. Just ask Curt Hennig, who had a match with him once. Ask him about all the matches he had with Randy Savage in WCW. Paulie dangerously says, and you'll see what I mean. 1, 2, 3. Ding ding ding. Here is your winner, and still the TWF hard-made fighter, Faith. And Faith is still the TWF hard-made fighter here in the toy wrestling gathering. And now we're putting the things away, which once in the past, Mike Lane says, you know, was a bind. Well, it's truly sad that Dennis Rodman did not become. It's truly sad that Dennis Rodman did not become the TWF hard-made fighter. Paulie dangerously says. I think he would have made a good one. But that's my thought. That's my belief, Paulie dangerously says. Well, Mike Lane said Dennis Rodman put up a good fight against Faith here today on Collision, or hit, or strike, but it was not enough. That's right, Mike Lane. It wasn't enough, Jim Ross said. Dennis Rodman gave a good fight, but at the end of the day, Faith beat Dennis Rodman, and she's still the TWF hard-made fighter. Well, speaking of that, Jonathan Coachman is going to be talking. Jonathan Coachman is going to be talking with Faith now. Alright, Jim Ross. Alright, Mike Lane, Jim Ross. I'm going to be talking with Faith here today on Collision or Hit or Strike. Sorry for clearing my coughing all the time in the film. First off, Faith, you're still the TWF hard-made fighter, a hard middle fighter. You beat Dennis Rodman here today. Well, I knew Dennis Rodman was skilled. Alright? He was a former NBA winnable ball player, a former WCW skilled wrestler. So I know that he can wrestle. Alright? And he's been in TWF before. He's won some winnings in the past, like the light heavyweight winnings, the Interland winnings, So we all know about him. And even though he's wearing the out-of-date NWO shirt, I still have some onlook for Dennis Rodman. If you want to have another match with me, Dennis Rodman, then you just look me up. Because I'll give it to you. Because when I first won the TWF hard middle winnings, I said I was going to be a fighter's fighter. And I'll take on anyone. A man, woman, I don't care. If they want to go at me, I'm going to fight them. Just like I beat Masco, it's the same way I beat Dennis Rodman. And I'm going to beat anyone else that wants to go after my winnings, my strap. Well, we all know, Faith, that you are a hard middle. You won the TWF hard middle winnings in the past, back in 2003 YL, in your first run in the TWF. And we all know what happened to your 2-diff run. You won the TWF women's heavyweight winnings about 2 times, and the World Women's Heavyweight winnings once in your 2-diff run. Oh, the women's tag team winnings of Io Shirai. Oh, that's right. But this time I'm in the hard middle fighter now, and I'm taking on all comers. So if anyone wants to come after me, they're going to get a beating. Well, that's my talk with Faith, the TWF middle fighter. Back to you, Mike Lane and Jim Ross. Well, what's it saying here? Oh, I don't know. Alright. Well, thank you, Jonathan Coachman, for talking with Faith here today on Collision or Hit or Strike. That's all the time we got here for Collision or Strike. I, Mike Lane, Jim Ross, Paulie Dangerously here. If you like Collision or a Hit, we hope so. And that's all the time we got here for Collision or Hit. Mike Lane, Jim Ross, Paulie Dangerously here. And we'll see you tomorrow for Monday Night Raw or Lone Day Night Raw.